or where do you work? Okay, so yeah, other sample questions. Yeah, where do you go to school or university? What do you do for a living? Yeah, so that's asking for your occupation, yeah, your job if you're working as well. And then when was the last time you went on a vacation? Yeah, it could be like casual, simple questions like that as well. What's your favorite food? How is the weather in where you live? And one thing to note in IELTS speaking part one is that you don't just answer the question with uh, one or two words or yes or no, yeah, but you have to elaborate a little bit, yeah. So yeah, for example, here, what's your favorite food? Oh, I like batagor, for example, yeah. So I like somai, for example. So it's a vendor food we can find on the streets. Usually they sell it in carts. It's made of fish, yeah, and it's usually drizzled with peanut sauce, and it's delicious for me. So just like that, yeah. Not just, oh, what's your favorite food? Nasi goreng. Oh, yeah, that's correct answer. Yeah, that's how you answer it, but it's not enough, yeah, to showcase your English speaking ability. All right, next. Yeah, so we're going to do IELTS speaking part two, yeah. Here in IELTS speaking part two, we are using a prompt, yeah. So the interviewer, or rather the judge, will give you a prompt, yeah, and then they will give you 1 minute to memorize the things that are in the prompt, yeah. So in order to answer these kind of questions, yeah, in this part, you have to remember 5W plus 1H, yeah, and keyword for each point. So 5W plus 1H, I think you know, yeah, it's interrogative words like what, who, when, where, why, yeah, and then 1H is how. And also the keyword for each point. So you have to memorize the theme. So for example, the first one, oh, it's about a book. And then, okay, so you memorize what it was, what, and then when, and then what it was about. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll give you an example on how to answer these questions later soon. And then after you memorize the whole thing, you should plan your flow of questions. So which one of these points that should like to answer first, yeah? For example, describe a film or movie actor from your country who is very popular. So you should say who this actor is. So usually, or I think normally, everyone will answer this part first, who this actor is, yeah. So you give the answer by the actor's name, yeah. And then as long as you manage to say every point of the prompt, it doesn't matter if it was not in order. So yeah, after you answer this, you can answer this part, what you know about this actor's life, or explain why this actor is so popular. And then you can go back to the second question. What kinds of films or movies he or she acts in? Okay, so yeah, let me give you time, about 1 minute, while I'll still admitting the first who joined, yeah, to read this prompt. Okay, for those of you who just joined, my name is, in Kukche languages, my student call me Mr. Dwi, yeah, so you can address me with that. Okay, so yeah, so after 1 minute, let's go with the first one. Okay, describe a book you have read. Okay, so it's about a book. Memorize that theme. And then the first one is what it was, and then when you read it, and then what it was about, and explain how you felt about this book. Okay, here is the example of answering that question. Okay, let's only read the first point here. So yeah, I read Naruto comic books last year. I've had plenty of free times ever since the ongoing pandemic. It's about a young boy who wants to become the greatest ninja. I find the titular main character annoying, so I didn't enjoy reading those comic books. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the example. So what book is that? Well, you already answered it, Naruto. Yeah. And then when you read it, I have had plenty of free times ever since the ongoing pandemic. Yeah. Or you can answer like, oh, I read it last week. I read it last year. Yeah. Yeah. Please do mind the tenses. Yeah. Because when did you read it? Yeah. Well, it means that in the past. So you must answer it with past simple. Okay. And then, yeah, what is the book about? Yeah. What the book is about. It's about a young boy who wants to become the greatest ninja. And then how you feel about the book. Yeah, I find the titular main character annoying, so I didn't enjoy reading those comic books. So this example is like a band 6 or band 7, yeah, because it has this vocabulary, titular main character, yeah. This is a high level phrase that you can use to answer these kind of questions. Let's go back to the second prompt. Okay, so yeah, for those of you who just joined, again, my name is Mr. Dwi. So we're going to go over the second prompt, yeah? Describe a movie or a film or movie actor from your country who is very popular, yeah? You should say who this actor is, what kinds of films or movies he or she acts in, and what you know about this actor's life. And explain why this actor is so popular. Okay, yeah. Can you guys mute yourselves if you do not? Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we are talking about this second prompt, yeah, for those of you who just joined. Okay, let's talk about this, yeah. After, yeah, you are given 1 minute to memorize for those of you who just joined. And then remember 5W plus 1H keywords, yeah. Who, what, why, when, where, and then how, yeah. And then plan your flow of questions, yeah. From these questions, who this actor is, what kinds of films, what do you know about this actor's life, and explain why this actor is so popular. You need to plan first, which one do you like to answer? I think for the specific prompt, yeah, it's normal if you want to answer the first one first, yeah, because it's about their name, yeah, who this actor is. And then, yeah, it's up to you. Do you whether or not you want to answer the next question or the third one or the fourth one? Okay. So yeah, after you plan your flow of questions, yeah, as long as you manage to say every point, it doesn't matter if it's not in order, yeah, and it's not messing, yeah, it won't mess up your score, yeah, as long as you manage to answer every prompt. So yeah, let's take a look at the sample answers, yeah. So Adipati Dolken is a young actor who, as far as I know, has managed to stay away from the limelight. He's very talented, and the reason he's famous is because his phenomenal performances in every movie he's in. He truly cares about his acting craft. He specializes in drama, period drama movies, but sometimes he does comedy as well. So here we can see that in this answer, the first thing the speaker or the example here answer is who this actor is, yeah, because yeah, it's normal because it's about the name. Adipati Dolken is a young actor, and then in the example they answer this question first, yeah. So after the first one, who this actor is, they answer the third question, what you know about this actor's life. Who, as far as I know, has managed to stay away from the limelight. Yeah. And then they answer the fourth question, why this actor is so popular. Yeah. So he's very talented, and the reason he's famous because his phenomenal performances in every movie he's in. He truly cares about his acting craft. And the last part that the sample answer is the second one. What kinds of films or movies he or she acts in? Yeah. So he truly cares about his acting craft. He specializes in drama, period drama movies, but sometimes he does comedy as well. Yeah. So this is also the sample answer for IELTS Band 7 or 7.5. Yeah. Because we have this phrase line wide. Yeah. It's a high level vocabulary. And then managed. And then collocation, stay away. Yeah, I'm going to explain about what is collocation later soon. Okay, and then yeah, sometimes he does comedy as well. So this is linking phrase, yeah, and I'm going to explain that very soon. So that is the second part of IELTS speaking test. Let's move on the third part of IELTS speaking. So on the third part, it's still thematically related to part two. So for example, so if in the part two, they ask you, or the prompt you are given is about a book. So part three will be about either a book or a library or people's reading habits. Yeah. It's still thematic. Yeah. It's still related, but not. But maybe not directly related. So it's not going to be about book. Yeah, but it can also be anything related to book. Yeah, like for example that the things that I mentioned previously. Yeah, so it can be about library or people's reading habits. Yeah, or for example, if the prompt two is about the actors here, yeah, the film or movie actor from your country who is very popular. Part three can be about celebrity, or it can also be about how to be popular, or it can also be about movies. Yeah, so it's still related, but maybe not so much. Yeah, but it wouldn't be about things that are very far from the part two topic. Yeah, so for example, for the book, it wouldn't be about tourism. It wouldn't be about fashion, for example. Yeah. For about if the part two is the prompt about the actor, like the previous one, then part three wouldn't be about safety or education, maybe. Yeah. So because it's too far away from the part two theme. Next, so part three requires you to pause and think for more complex answers. Yeah. So the questions are kind of like part one, but it's more complex and it requires you to think. Yeah. And then, yeah, the answers are slightly long, but again, you need to be succinct. Yeah. Uh, it can be long enough, but just enough. Yeah. Not too long because you're going to forget what your main points of talking and you're going to rambling about and you don't, yeah, and you won't know how to stop, and that could lower the score. So yeah, plan ahead on what you're going to answer. Yeah. uh Here in the point two, it requires you to pause. So it's okay after the interviewer asks you, you can pause for like 10 seconds and think before you answer. Yeah. Not, yeah, please don't take too long though, because of course, everyone else needs time to answer. Okay. Let's have the example for IELTS speaking part three. Okay, so here's the example of, sorry. Yeah, here's the example of IELTS speaking part three, yeah? So discussion topics, attitudes to retirement. At what age do people in your country normally retire from work? Do you think there should be a set age at which people must retire from work? Yeah, so it's about attitudes to retirement. And then the next topic is after retirement. What are some good things about being retired? Why do you think that? And young people replace older workers who retire from the workplace. So it's about retirement. So that means that part two is probably about, well, it can be about retirement as well. And it could also be about employment, yeah, or things that are related to work. Or maybe part two could also be about old people, yeah, because it's about retirement. Okay. So yeah, for example, so the questions in part three speaking test, because this test is international, the questions is sometimes has this phrase, people in your country, yeah. And I don't think you should answer back with, oh, people in my country, but rather just say that Indonesian people, yeah. Well, I assume most of you guys are from Indonesia. So yeah, let me give an example for this one. So at what age do people in your country normally retire from work? Well, I think Indonesian people generally retired from the age 60 to 65, but it also depends on what kind of job. If they work for the government, they could retire from the age 60 or 55 even. But if they work in private sector, they can retire from 60 to 65. So yeah, that kind of answer, right? It's longer answer than the part one, but it's also not too long, and don't ramble, yeah, because you're going to mess up your answer. Okay, so keep that in mind, please. Okay, next. Okay, so here are the scoring and criteria of IELTS speaking. Yeah, so the scorer, usually the interviewer is also your scorer because, well, he or she actually listens to your answers. So yeah, they would determine your fluency based on these points, yeah, talking at length, yeah, meaning that your answer is not too short, but it's also not rambling on and on for too long. And then talking without pauses or hesitations, yeah, the more fluent, the better, yeah. Talking without self-correction, yes, the more accurate you speak about, yeah, especially about the grammar, the pronunciation, and then the structure, the better you would be. Although for band 5, it's better to correct yourself once you notice your own mistake and just to let it flow, yeah. And then able to be understood, yeah. So this is regarding to the structure of your sentence, yeah. Uh, so yeah, you need to plan ahead your answer, yeah. And then your answer should be easy to understand. Uh, Also using the correct grammar, correct structure, correct pronunciation, and correct diction or correct choice of words, yeah. So yeah, so as we know that English has so many synonyms, yeah, or words that are meaning the similar things, but sometimes it's not interchangeable, yeah. Uh, and we can't just pick certain words to showcase our vocabulary because it will mean, yeah, it will be hard or difficult to understand, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go over this later. And then the last one is using linking devices. So linking devices, it what connects two simple sentences so you can form complex sentences, which showcase your fluency, yeah, uh, and as well as your knowledge of grammar and structure. Okay, the second one is lexical resource, yeah, or in common term, it's called vocabulary. So you need to expand your vocabulary. You need to showcase your vocabulary, yeah. The higher the level of your vocabulary, the higher the band will be, yeah. Using a range of words and paraphrasing. So yeah, paraphrasing here means that you are talking about the same sentence that you mean, but using different or harder words, usually from the questions of IELTS Speaking 3. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can give an example here. Okay. So yeah. After retirement, how do you think life for old people changes? So you can answer this using paraphrasing by saying, okay, after older people stop working, or after the seniors stop working, I think they would be focused on doing things that they enjoy. Maybe they will try to find new hobbies, or maybe they would travel the world if they have enough money from the retirement fund. Yeah. So yeah, we change the word old people with seniors, and we change the word retirement to stop working. So that is called paraphrasing, right? You still answer these questions, you still saying the same meaning, but with different words. So that is called paraphrasing. So that showcase your vocabulary, and that showcase to the interviewer that you understand the question very well. And then using collocations. So collocations are a phrase, yeah, or are phrases that contains two words or more, yeah, that is very, very common in use. For example, stay away, yeah, keep out, yeah, and then other high-level vocabularies that I will be giving the examples soon. And then using less common vocabulary, yeah, this one means that you need to use higher level of vocabulary. Okay, yeah, I'm going to give you an example for this soon. And the last one for lexical resource, or for you who just joined. So this is the criteria of IELTS scoring. Yeah, lexical resource means vocabulary. Yeah, avoiding errors. Yeah, okay. Maybe you can showcase your vocabulary, but then again, like I said before, if you use high-level words but you don't know the meaning of, it could make your answer strange. Yeah, it could be faulty. Yeah, so it would contain errors. So make sure that when you gain new vocabulary, you have to understand what it means. Yeah, what the word means. And the third one is grammar, range, and accuracy. So yeah, you need to use a range of sentence structures. You need to use a range of grammar, tenses, and avoiding errors as well. Yeah. So avoiding errors here is related to the previous 2 points. Yeah. Using a range of sentence structures, like I said before, with linking devices, you can use like, okay, the simplest things would be like because, if, so, therefore, yeah, to make your sentences, to make your answers go to from simple to complex, yeah, and that showcase your grammar range and accuracy. And then you can also use a range of grammar tenses, yeah. For example, if the question is about the things in the past, well, you need to be able to answer it using the appropriate tenses, like for example, past simple. So, for example, how did people find new celebrity back in the past? So yeah, you need to answer it using past simple. I think the talent manager found potential celebrities by traveling to various locations all over Indonesia, and then they held some kind of contest, yeah, like singing or dancing, etc. So that's the example, yeah. If the question is using past simple, you need to answer it with past grammar or structure as well, yeah. You need to answer it with past simple or past continuous or even past perfect, yeah. Okay, but sometimes questions using specific grammar, you can also answer it with different grammars, yeah, as long as the answer makes sense. More of that later, okay? And the last part of scoring, uh, is about your pronunciation. Yeah. So you need to be able to be understood throughout the test. Yeah. Able to use intonation. Yeah. Intonation is very important because it showcases that you have, yeah, you know your periods, yeah, or your dots, or you know your commas, yeah, you know when to pause for a second, you will know when to end a sentence. Yeah, it's very, very important. And well, when you listing things, yeah, as well, and specifically for question, for personal questions. So for example, if part 3, the question is specific about your life experience, yeah, uh, yeah, it's important to apply an emotional side of you a little bit. Yeah, so you can bring out that intonation. Yeah, like for example, uh, okay, 2 years ago was probably the worst vacation of my life because I lost my suitcase. I had called the employees at the airport, but none of them seemed to want to help me. So yeah, you need to apply your emotions so the intonations will be brought up. And then accent does not affect understanding. Yeah, so it's okay if you have an accent. Yeah, so okay, maybe usually in Indonesia, uh, orang Jawa ya atau orang Sunda, kalau ya if orang Jawa or orang Sunda, if Japanese or Sundanese talk in English, they will have an accent, and that's completely fine. Yeah, as long as you are still be able to be understood. Yeah, think of it like Malaysian people or Singaporean, they speak English, but they have accent, right? But they are still very clear. Yeah? Their English is still very clear to be able to be understood. And the last one is accurate word and sound pronunciation. Yeah. So yeah, you need to mind your pronunciation. In order to improve your pronunciation as well as to expand your vocabulary, the easiest thing to do is by listening to English songs every day, or watching movies or TV series in English every day. Yeah. So you can absorb the vocabulary as well as the pronunciation of said vocabulary or words. All right. And then okay, so here is the tips. Yeah, key takeaways. Yeah, I call this cewek. Yeah, to make it easier to understand, I guess. So yeah, the first C is about check before you speak. Yeah, so you need to understand the questions, and then you need to plan how will you answer this question, and then you need to make sure that uh, the grammar that you're speaking about is correct, the pronunciation is correct. Yeah, so you need to be mindful of these kind of things, and then elaborate on your answers. Yeah, don't just answer one word or two word or one simple sentence or yes and no. Yeah, but you have to elaborate on your answer. Even simple questions in IELTS speaking part 1, for example, what's your favorite color? Well, you can just say blue, yeah, but you need to be able to say uh, blue or periwinkle because it reminds me of the ocean that I went back in 2 years ago. Yeah, so elaborate on your answers and then widen your knowledge. This one is very, very important. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like most of you guys are student, or maybe some of you guys already goes to work. Yeah, and even though you have your own interests, or if you are working, or if you're in college, you have your own majors, or if you're working, you work at a certain field, you have to widen your knowledge. For example, if you work in engineering or if you major in engineering in college, and you like automotive, for example, well, that's good. Because if the question is in part 2 and part 3 is about automotive, then you might be able to answer that more fluent. Yeah. But sometimes the questions or the theme is about art, for example, the thing that you're not really interested in, but you still have to know a little bit of things of art. Yeah, you still have to know a little bit of things of economy, even if you were a doctor or even if you go to college in medical field. Yeah, so that is very important and keep that in mind. And also regarding that knowledge, you should know about the thing or the knowledge. Yeah, it should be international as well as local. Why? Because sometimes you need to compare your country with other countries. Yeah, so you need to be able to read international news every day, for example, to know the situations in other countries, but you also have to know the situation in your country. Yeah, because I think from the previous from the previous slide here, we can see that the questions about people in your country. So that means people in Indonesia. So you need to be able to understand about uh, well, the climate of everything in Indonesia. And maybe also about the entire world, because sometimes you're going to compare things from your country, from Indonesia, with uh, other countries in the world. Okay, and then enrich your vocabulary. Again, this one is important. If you showcase as many as high-level vocabularies in your answer, then your band is going to go higher. Yeah. Uh, Also, enriching your vocabulary does not mean that you absorb as many new words as possible, but you also have to understand those words because, again, some synonyms, some words have many synonyms, not just one, not just two, but sometimes the synonyms are not interchangeable. So in specific contexts, some synonyms are not interchangeable. I'll explain more of that later. And the last one, then the last important tip to know is know when to stop, because this can severely ruin your answer, especially in part three. For example, you already answered a question fluently, you already brought up your points, it's easy to understand, you are not nervous, but because you ramble on and on and on, it strays from the topic of the question. It becomes muddled. It becomes difficult to understand. Had you stopped at certain point, your answer would be better and your score would be better. So you have to know when to stop. Also remember. Don't answer questions too short either. So not too short, not too long. Know the balance. Okay, let's explain further on about this. Okay, the first point, C, check before you speak. So make sure you understand the questions and then buy time by paraphrasing the questions. So because you have to understand what the question is about and you have to think, then sometimes you need to buy time by paraphrasing the questions. More on that later here in the next example. Then make sure you know the grammar to use. Make sure you plan your flow of answers. Make sure the letter S at the end of the words are audible. So this one, I think, in my experience, this one is what most Indonesians, whilst doing these speaking tests, disregard, or maybe just forget. Because if you pronounce the letter S, for example, in present simple, for the subject he, she, and it, the verb after that should be uh, added with S, if it's positive. Like David plays football, If you forgot the S, then David play the football. Even if you do understand present simple, but you say that David played football, it will sound wrong, So please be mindful of that. And also plural words like plural words can affect the grammar as well. Yeah. For example, you're saying orange are sweet. Yeah. You understand that it should be plural. Oranges are sweet, but you forgot to pronounce the word as, or the word as is not audible. Yeah. Uh, the interviewer cannot hear the s at the end. Well, the interviewer is going to assume that you don't know the grammar or you don't know the structure, and that would massively lower your score. Yeah, because it's a basic grammar and structure, present simple and plural nouns. Yeah, so make sure if the word ends in letter s, yeah, Indonesians, yeah, the S must be audible. Yeah, your interviewer must be able to hear the letter S at the end of the word. Okay. So yeah, by applying these techniques, we can check lots of points. Yeah, in the IELTS scoring test. Yeah, in here in the IELTS criteria here. So yeah, the points are paraphrasing. Yeah, by time by paraphrasing the questions, and then sentence structures and grammar tenses. If you understand the questions and know the grammar to use and plan your flow of answers. Yeah, clear answers, intonation, clear answers if you answer it correctly. Correctly does not mean that you answer it uh, correct according to the fact or being truthful, but rather your answer makes sense. Yeah, but still it's important to be correct. It's important to be accurate according to the facts, as well as be truthful. Yeah, be honest with your answer. Okay, and then intonation, because if you plan your flow of answer, then you will know the intonations to use and with clear pronunciations. Okay, let's see here. This is the questions. This is a question that is often asked in IELTS Speaking Part 3. How accessible is healthcare for people in your country? Yeah. So you have to know the question. Yeah. You have to know what accessible means. Oh, accessible means that how easy or hard it is to reach. Yeah. Or to get. About what? Getting what? Getting healthcare. For who? For people in your country, for Indonesian people. Yeah. Okay, you paraphrase the questions by saying this. Well, the accessibility of healthcare for most Indonesians, unfortunately, is still a problem. So yeah, you buy time by saying, well, probably like 3 seconds, yeah. And then you paraphrase the questions, the accessibility of healthcare for most Indonesians, yeah. And then you say your main point, yeah. Unfortunately, is still a problem. Okay, and then since decades ago, yeah, remember the S must be audible. Healthcare has been tied to employment. Therefore, those who are unemployed don't have this privilege. Okay, so you already plan your flow of questions, yeah? Okay, since when healthcare applied to Indonesians? And then why is that? And what's the effect? What's the result? Therefore, those who are unemployed don't have this privilege. And then a few years ago, the government issued Kartu Miskin, a card for underprivileged. Okay, yeah, can you mute yourselves? Okay, yeah, continue. So yeah, a few years ago, the government issued Kartu Miskin, a card for underprivileged that lowers the cost of healthcare, food, and school supplies. So you give an example, yeah, of what the government has done, yeah, to answer this question. And then adding the last point, even so, the distribution of those cards is difficult because Indonesia as an archipelago is geographically challenging. Corruptions also don't help. As a result, there are still plenty of Indonesians who can't afford adequate health care. So this whole answer might seem long, yeah, but if you are fluent, well, this can only take about like 30 seconds to say all these things, yeah. Which is why it is important to plan your flow of answer, yeah. And this sample answer is band 7.5. Let's check why. Okay, so the first one is they are paraphrasing the question. Yeah, well, the accessibility of healthcare for most Indonesians, unfortunately, is still a problem. And then they use linking words like therefore, yeah, and then even so, as a result, yeah, and then they also showcase high level of vocabulary like privilege, yeah, and then underprivileged, and then archipelago, and then geographically challenging. So that's a collocations, yeah, two words that are common phrases. Okay, and then adequate as well, yeah, so that's high level vocabulary. More on that later. Okay, so yeah, let's move on from this point. Okay, the second point is elaborate on your answers. So this is specifically important, especially for IELTS speaking part 1. And this is what most what most Indonesians do, yeah, on IELTS speaking part 1. And for the trial class IELTS on Kukche languages that I test, yeah, I think the students or the people who take on trial test is still lacking in this area, yeah, elaborating on your answers, because the questions sound simple. Do you have any pet? Yeah, yes or no, yeah, or yes, I have a cat. But you can't just say that, yeah. It's not enough information from that. The less your interviewer asks you, the better, yeah, because if you elaborate, maybe okay, if you don't elaborate, maybe the interviewer will ask you questions about that. So not just, do you have any pet? Please don't answer, yes, I have a cat, but elaborate. Yes, I have 3 dogs, Alfie, Bernard, and Cindy. Yeah, so that's the names. And they're all poodles, breed, yeah, and my parents gave them when I was 5. So more info on when you got them and from whom, yeah. Because if you answer just this, yes, I have a cat, then your interviewer will have more follow-up questions. So yeah, what's his name or what's her name? And what's the breed? Who did you get it from? Yeah. So again, the less questions the interviewer asks, the better. Even if the answer is no, don't just say no. Yeah. So uh, this one is pretty good actually. No, but I used to have a hamster named Tony. Yeah. Yeah, you can add maybe Tony is dead, or Tony, I lost him, or I gave him to my cousins. Yeah. Or I've never had one. If you never had any pet, yeah, I've never had one, and I'm not responsible enough to have one, or I don't want one. Yeah. So even if you don't have any pet, and if you don't want to, you can say that to your interviewer. Yeah. So the sample questions that I have brought up here in these presentations are actual questions for IELTS speaking test. Yeah. So do you have any pet is one of the questions in IELTS speaking part 1. Yeah. But again, they have hundreds of topics. So yeah, please elaborate on your answer. Yeah. Don't just say yes, no, or yes, I have a cat. Yeah. Just one simple sentence, but add a little bit details. Yeah. Okay, and then the third point, widen your knowledge, yeah? Why is that? Because topics asked for part 1, 2, and 3 are different. So part 1 and 2 are completely different, yeah? Part one could be about the TV shows that you watch or your family watch, but part 2 could be about your previous vacation, yeah? Whilst part 2 and 3 can be the same topic, but or it can also be a similar topic, yeah, that is derived from part 2. So for example, if the questions in part 2 is about your previous vacation, then part 3 is going to be about well, it can be about your vacation as well, but it can also be about tourism. It can also be about transportation, yeah, because when you when you have a vacation, you need to travel, right? Using different forms of transportation. So yeah, which is why you have to widen your knowledge. Yeah, not just pursue the one that you are interested or the one that you are in, like your major or the field that you work in. Yeah, you need to read about lots of things, and you need to watch about lots of different things outside of your field. Okay, yeah, it helps tremendously to make you fluent as well. Yeah, because if you read about lots of things, I think each field has their own specific term, right? For example, in zoology field, you can learn about ecosystem, yeah, biodiversity, yeah. So those are like high level vocabulary because it's a term from specific major, yeah, or specific field. The more fields that you read on and understand, yeah, it's important to understand. Remember, uh, the more it helps tremendously to make you fluent and showcases your vocabulary. Yeah. So how to do this? You need to read more articles, watch more news and educational videos, and then, yeah, not only about international stuff, which I think the people who take IELTS test from Indonesia usually are more interested in international stuff. They read a lot of international stuff from many fields, but unfortunately they neglect or they don't care about the topics or the things that are happening in their own country in Indonesia. Sometimes if the interviewer asks about the politics in your country because you don't care so much, well, it's hard for you to answer. Yeah, therefore it would make you less fluent. So yeah, you have to know about international stuff or things and things that are happening in your own country. Yeah, in Indonesia. And then moving on to the fourth point, yeah, enrich your vocabulary. Okay, let me just give you a straight example. So enriching your vocabulary does not only means gaining new words, yeah, using new high-level words, yeah, here high-level vocabularies, but you should also use linking devices and then collocations as well, yeah. So yeah, linking devices helps with the structure of your answer. Yeah, it would make the interviewer to be more, to be more understand with your answers. Yeah, and then yeah, here are the examples. Although, in spite of, whatever, so that, yeah, etc. I'm going to give you the example here in the in the sample answer. And then collocations, yeah. Again, collocations are two words or more, yeah, that are pretty common for native English speaker. Okay, so yeah, come down with, turn up, play up, strengths, play up strengths, etc. So for example, uh, turn up in bahasa Indonesia it means muncul, yeah. But, if you know, I think muncul have another word in English. For example, appear, yeah. So if you use turn up instead of appear, well, your score would be higher, yeah, because it's a collocation. So it's important to also enrich your vocabulary with, specifically about collocations, yeah. Two or more words or phrases that are common for native speaker. Okay, let me give you the example here, yeah. This is part 3 IELTS from IELTS part 3 question. Should married women in your country work? Yeah. Okay, so these three, there are three sample answers here, and these are all correct. Okay, let's go over one by one. The first one, oh, should married women in your country work? Oh, I think they should. If the husbands in my country are the only ones who work, they won't have enough money. So this is a good answer, yeah, but it's only for band 5, yeah. The answer is clear and it makes sense and it uses linking devices if, yeah, but it doesn't have any high level vocabulary. Okay. The following sample answers also mean the same thing. Yeah. So not only they use high level vocabularies, they also mean the same thing. Okay. The second one, should married women in your country work? And then I would say that as long as the children are taken care, well by both parents, Indonesian husbands and wives can definitely increase their earnings. They can afford more things to improve their lives and save for the future. So yeah, this is for band 6.5. So the meaning of this is the same as this, basically, yeah, but it's more stretched with the important things, yeah. So here is the linking device as long as, yeah, the children are taken care. Taken care is collocations, yeah. Indonesian husbands and wives can definitely increase their earnings. Earnings is a high level vocabulary as well as afford. Yeah, so these are good. Yeah, but yeah, it's only band 6.5. Okay, and then for band 8, should married women in your country work? Personally, for average Indonesian spouses, ever since monetary crisis back in 1998 and 2008, not only having one parent as the sole provider for the family has not been ideal. Two household incomes would make a family live comfortably, provided that their kids are cared of, and they could also have safety net as well as their children's college fund. So these are band 8, yeah. It has more details. It has more high-level vocabularies like spouses here, yeah, and then monetary, and then provider, yeah, and then safety net, yeah, and high-level vocabularies can be also be linking devices and collocations, like yeah, collocations such as monetary crisis, sole provider, household incomes, yeah, and then live comfortably and safety net, yeah, and it also use linking device like provided that, yeah, and it's a higher level than if and as long as, yeah, so provided that means if, basically. So yeah, you need to enrich your vocabulary, yeah. Next, the last point is know when to stop, yeah. If you plan your answer well, you'll know what things you'll say and how it will end. But if you're rambling, you'll get confused, your answer won't make sense, yeah, so your interviewer won't understand your answer. And then, yeah, avoid getting off track so you won't ramble, yeah. So make sure you know when to end, yeah. Make sure you don't add any unnecessary details, and then avoid to show off vocabularies you're not sure of, yeah. So if you learn new vocabularies, if you learn new words, you have to know what the meaning is, okay, since it can ruin your answer if you don't know what it means but you use it anyway. So I'm going to give you an example here. The question is the same as the previous ones, but the two answers here are wrong, okay. So yeah, the first one, I think they should. If the husbands in my country are the only ones who work, they won't have enough money. Also, they have to find nannies for their kids while they work. They have to consider the cost of hiring nannies, if it's worth it to have both parent work, or blah 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 blah. So this one is rambling on and on and on. Yeah, the find nannies and then consider the cost and worth it if both parents work or could ask their parents. It's not related, yeah, it's already far away from the actual question, should married women in your country work? Okay, and then the second one, yeah, should married women in your country work? I believe wedded Indonesian women should contribute for the economy. Contribute for the economy don't just mean work, yeah, it can mean it's too vague, yeah, it can mean several other things. And then should their progeny have a supervisor to ensure their safety? Progeny means children, but yeah, it's strange if you apply it in this context, yeah. So yeah, it sounds strange. And then supervisor means that someone who will look after them, but it's not appropriate in this context, yeah, because supervisor is for professional field, yeah, is for work. So yeah, this answer is really strange, yeah. More wealth within their blood means more money in their family, which doesn't make sense if you say it in this. Means more luxuries to indulge in, yeah. Okay, this one still makes sense, but yeah, it's also sounds strange thanks to the previous answer. So yeah, a lot of people, so because of one of the tips of increasing your vocabulary is enriching the vocabulary. A lot of people just enrich their vocabulary without actually understanding when or where to apply these new words they just learned. And that could make the answer here is basically incomprehensible. Yeah, it's really hard to understand. Okay, so yeah, remember, yeah, these two sample answers are the bad ones. Yeah, are the terrible ones compared to this. These ones are correct. Yeah, but yeah, they are depending on the pen. Okay, yeah, and then other tips, yeah. So other tips here is that you can watch movies and TV shows every day with English subtitles. Why is that? Why do you need English subtitles? Because you will know how the words written, so it would also help with your writing part of the IELTS, yeah. And then you can know that certain words pronounced the certain way, yeah. And then reads lots of articles about lots of topics every day. Use an app, yeah. I personally use Flipboard, yeah, because you can read news from several different topics, yeah. And then practice, yeah, you can practice this with your friends, teacher, native speaker, and by yourself. Well, if you join the IELTS class with me, I'm available every Wednesday and Saturday, I believe. Yeah, or Friday. Yeah, so Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And then if you're nervous, take a breath before answering and then use phrases like these, yeah, to buy time, yeah. Well, in my opinion, as far as I know, I think, I believe, I know. Okay, so these three, I need to highlight these three specifically. So these are for personal answer. Like, for example, in your opinion, uh, how is the use of social media amongst teenager? So I think means that it's in your opinion as well, yeah. So I think and in my opinion is the same, yeah. I believe is slightly more assuring than I think, yeah. If you answer things with I believe, you need to be able to provide some great reasons, yeah, or even evidence. If you answer it with I know, that means that you have actually experienced this thing firsthand, yeah. So for example, should student who aren't figured, yeah, should student who haven't figured out what they want to do take a gap year? You can answer, oh, I know they should because I took one, and because I'm not sure about what major I'm going to take. Therefore, I focused on the gap year, finding uh, interesting, interesting things that I need to try in order to find what I enjoy doing. So yeah, you can use I know if you are uh, fully sure about the answer. Yeah, if you have experienced what the question is about, and it's a great point if you use I know. And then personally, well, these are the same, yeah. Personally, and in my opinion, and I think are the same. In my experience, it's the same as I know, yeah. To my knowledge, well, this is to your knowledge, yeah, what you know of, yeah. In regards to this is about, yeah, you can go back to previous questions to make a point to your to answer your current questions using this. And then paraphrase the question to buy time. What do you think of people using a filter on social media? Well, you can paraphrase the question. In my opinion, the use of filter when posting pictures is acceptable as long as, yeah, so you paraphrase the question and then starting to answer and already use a linking device here as long as. And then learn more about grammar, then keep doing the first three tips. Yeah, it helps to know when you use certain words, why do people use certain words, and then the context and when to say them, etc. Yeah. And yeah, this one is the last tips. So sometimes giving examples is the best kind of answer. For example, what do people in your country usually have for breakfast? Well, we have plenty of options, really. It depends on the culture as well. But for the food that is widely available, we eat cereal or bread and jam if you want something sweet. But I'd say that rice kanji with chicken or fried rice with sunny side egg are common picks for breakfast. Yeah. So this is rice kanji is basically bubur ayam, fried rice is nasi goreng, but for certain cuisines that are originated from Indonesia, like rendang or laksa, well, yeah, you don't have to translate certain words, like address as well, yeah. You don't need to address, you don't need to translate address, yeah. Like for example, I live in Jalan Salak. It's not I live in Salak Street, yeah, but yeah, I live on Jalan Salak. Okay, and then for questions with present perfect, yeah, which is have or has plus verb 3, yeah, the best way to answer it is by comparing the past with the present, yeah, the situation in the past and present. And 90% of the answers has something to do with the internet, okay, because they will ask you about the present time compared with 2 decades ago or 20 years ago. And what we have today that they didn't have is the internet. Okay, so for example, how has having a vacation for people in your country changed when it comes to higher education for the last 2 decades? Yeah. So these questions seem so hard, but if you know the trick, if you can answer it with comparing past with present, it would be easy. So people didn't travel as much as they are today, thanks to the advancement of transportation and technology. Everything here is easier nowadays. 20 years ago, I assume people are reluctant to travel, as they have to queue for a long time in a bus station, train station, or an airport. However, nowadays people can just use an app to order everything from transportation, accommodations, and tourist destinations. So for example, if the question using this one, how or has, yeah, and then verb 3, for example, it's about food, then you can think about food delivery app because that's the answer in the present and compare it to the past where people have to go to the restaurant in order to buy some food. Yeah. If the question is about shopping, well, people in the past had to go to the store, but people now just use app. Yeah. So 90% of the answers has something to do with the internet. So you can just think, oh, internet, what did they do before and what do we do now? So yeah, just like that. Okay, so I believe that is all for today's presentation. And yeah, I believe the time is up as well. So yeah, any of you have questions, you can ask me in the chat. I will wait for 3 minutes. Yeah, is there any question? Is there any part that you don't understand? Okay, so yeah, I think so that is it, yeah, for today. Or can anyone, does anyone want to try answering their version of this part? Okay, I think we have a question here. Is it okay if in IELTS 3, IELTS part 3, we explain about our self-experience? Yes, Odi, it is okay, yeah. But depending on the question though, sometimes the question is not asking about your personal experience, yeah. But if you have personal experience regarding the questions, you can answer that as well, yeah. For example, the questions is about art field, yeah. So what kind of art do people in your country enjoy, yeah? And then you happen to enjoy art, so you can answer, well, I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, I love paintings. And when I go to galleries, there are lots of people. So I can kind of assume that many Indonesians love paintings as well. So yeah, you can relate to your own personal questions if you experience it. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Zul Fadri. I come from Aceh.
Yeah.
I'm asked about scoring and criteria of IELTS speaking, uh, about pronunciation. As we know that the IELTS and quote from United Kingdom and couple from United States. If talk in in our IELTS, we must to have UK pronunciation or US pronunciation or
Oh, okay.
the myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. So yeah, you can mute your audio, please. Okay. Uh, yeah. So for pronunciation, well, I think we all can agree that from SD, yeah, from elementary school to high school, we use American pronunciation, right? And that is okay. Maybe sometimes you have English teacher who speak with British uh, British accent, but if you already use American accent, that is okay as well. Uh, One indicator of the IELTS scoring, yeah, even if you have an accent, as long as it's easy to be understood, yeah, it's fine. Here, accent does not affect understanding, yeah, so it's okay. Uh, in fact, if you join an IELTS class, yeah, sometimes the interviewer does not come from English or the US, yeah. Sometimes they are not native English speaker. Sometimes they can come from Europe or China and they have accent as well. And in listening part of the test, sometimes the speakers are not from native English or American. Sometimes they have Australian accent, New Zealand accent, or Arabic or Chinese as well. So you need to be able to listen from several accents as well. So that's only fair if we speak and we have also have accents, right? Okay, I'm going to answer the question from Titania Ayuda Ilham. What to do if I don't know anything about the topic and how to answer? Thank you. Okay, so yeah, first thing first is that uh, it's better that you know a lot of topics, yeah. But if you really don't know, you can answer it with these, Titania. So to my limited knowledge, I only know. So for example, the question is about fashion, yeah, or makeup, yeah. So how do women in your country prefer their makeup? Example. Well, to my limited knowledge, I think they use, yeah, they only use simple makeups, but I don't fully know about this because I'm not big on makeup as well. Yeah, so it's okay to be honest. Yeah, but uh, if you can answer certain topics, yeah, even if you only have limited knowledge, but you can mention about it, it would grant you a higher score. Okay, because it showcases you, yeah, because having knowledge from different range of topics can make you uh, yeah, can make you score higher in the vocabulary department. All right, anything else? Yeah, if you have questions you can chat. Okay. Okay, yeah, maybe if not, anyone want to try this one so I can correct you? Anyone wants to answer this IELTS speaking part 2, either topic, the first one or the second one? Yeah, I'm going to wait for 2 minutes maybe. Okay, Odi, you can try to answer this. Okay. So I'm going to give you 1 minute, yeah? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute.
One, the question that...
Yeah, you can pick the first one or the second one, yeah? You can read either one of them. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute starting now. Okay, Odi, are you ready? Odi, are you ready to answer? Yeah, that's okay. Don't be shy or anything. We are here to learn. So yeah, if you answer and then I have some notes, I can share it to you, and it could also help other friends here in this presentation, other participants here in this presentation. So yeah, Odi, are you ready to answer this part?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Which one would you want to answer? The first topic or the second one?
First one.
The first one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, ready when you are.
Yeah. Would you mind to show the question?
Show the question again. Okay.
Yeah. When I deliver my answer.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to give you an example or not? Because I already did.
If you do not mind, please.
Okay. So for this part, here's the sample answer. Yeah. Describe a book you have read. You should say what it was, when you read it, what it was about. Here, I read Naruto comic books last year. Yeah. I have had plenty of free times ever since the ongoing pandemic. It's about a young boy who wants to become the greatest ninja. I find the titular main character annoying, so I didn't enjoy reading those comic books. Yeah. So this is what the book is. Yeah. Naruto comic books. And then when did you read it? I have had plenty of free time. Yeah. And then what the book is about. It's about a young boy who wants to become the greatest ninja. And then what do you think about the book? Yeah. I didn't enjoy reading those comic books. So yeah, that's the sample answers. Okay, are you ready to answer now, Odi?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Shifa, I'm going to answer your questions after this one, okay? Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. You can speak.
Okay. About book, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you for the question. I want to tell you about my experience in reading a book. The book has a title, if I'm not mistaken, Psychology in Working from Home. I got this book from my friend who know about my condition now, stay locked down in my home, and I'm over the moon. I was over the moon after receiving it because, yeah, as we know, my mental is really affected by this pandemic condition. I often spend at least 15 minutes a day in reading this book because I really need something else escaping my daily routine, facing my laptops. So I really enjoy after read this book. This is a simple book. I think it contains 100 pages, a small book, I think, but the content is really useful for me as a professional worker. And yeah, I really appreciate my friend about this gift. He know about my need, and I really suggest you all in this webinar to buy or at least borrow this book to maintain your health condition in this COVID era.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. First question, did you mention when did you get the book? No, yeah. Oh yeah. But that's okay. I think you read the book ever since pandemic, yeah. Okay, so the first thing first, it's a little bit too long, yeah, for the answer, especially part two, yeah. Part two has the shortest answer, yeah, because it has the prompt. Okay, it can be answered within two, 3 or 4 sentences. Okay, so yeah, what you need to do after mentioning the book and where did you get it, uh, you need to use present perfect. Yeah. So present perfect tense using has, have, and then verb three. Yeah. So they have several functions. The first one is to explain changes over time. So my mental health, yeah, it's not just mental, but mental health, yeah. My mental health has been affected ever since the pandemic began. So yeah, that is changes over time because my mental health has been affected. Okay, and then I have been reading this book uh, for every day since I get that. Yeah, so because present perfect also helps you to explain things that you did from the past and you still do it now. Yeah, to in the present. So yeah, you need to mind your grammar first. Yeah. Okay, as for the structure, that is okay. Yeah. So you explain what kind of book it is, yeah, the title, and then what kind of book it is. It's a psychological book. Where did you get it? That is okay. And then when did you read? When did you read the book? Yeah. So yeah, I have been reading this book ever since I got it. Yeah, especially since my mental health has been affected because of the pandemic and in my work field, uh, in psychology, this book is also relevant. And even though this book is pretty short, it only has 100 pages. This one is very useful for me every day. This one has been helpful for me to read every day. So yeah, that's the way that you can answer that. Okay. Any more? Yeah. Any other Anyone else want to try this prompt? Maybe one more time. Meanwhile, I'm going to answer the question from Shifa. Yeah? So Shifa asks, does the spelling have to be correct? Or is it okay if the spelling is still wrong? Well, Shifa, I'm sorry to tell you that, yeah, it's not okay, yeah, and it has to be correct, yeah, it has to be understandable. And yeah, please note that this has nothing to do with accent, yeah. So your own accent does not make your pronunciation incorrect, okay? So, for example, Indians, the Bollywood ones, yeah, not the American Indians, they speak English, right? For the most part, they have accent, but they are still understandable. Their pronunciation is correct still. Yeah. So yeah, what you want to do to improve your spelling and pronunciation is that you have to watch TV shows every day, watch movies every day in English, listen to English speaking sounds, yeah, or listen to songs with English lyrics every day, yeah, and make sure you understand the words, yeah, or new words that you are learning from there, yeah. So yeah, the spelling and pronunciation must be correct, yeah, and intonation also help, yeah. Okay, anyone else want to ask question or want to try this one? So yeah, I think the next quiz or the next task for you guys is to record this part two, yeah, but I think it's on Monday and it's not on me. So you can't, yeah, you need to be able to do this one. Okay, yeah, if there's no more questions, then I think I can finish this presentation. Okay, so yeah, again, if you join with Kukche Languages and want to have IELTS class with me, I'm available every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So yeah, that is all for today. I hope the knowledge that I shared to you is useful for you in the future. Okay, so yeah, bye everyone. Hope we can see you again.